Hey, what is up, mortals? It is TC Crew here, and welcome to part 7 of What If Villains Had an Academy. Just wanted to greet you guys by just saying sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. And so we begin. The crisp autumn air carried with it the mild scent of coffee. Students claiming their daily caffeine in an attempt to prepare for the first day of training. The walkway was overwhelmed with the clattering and shuffling of half awake quirk users, mainly attempting to reorganize their thoughts while finding their homerooms in time for the vindictive bell. However, one unexpected scene transpired beside the students shortly after the school opened its doors. A pair linked arm in arm, both popular in the news for opposing reasons. Since the events had been finalized and the items had been straightened out, the story of a hospital's odd villain attack, with certain details expunged from the records, for safety's sake, and the urban legend gone reality of an ex-convict becoming a student at the school, had erupted from the newspapers. Classes were shifted around, specifically the attending students, due to the views on the latter event, causing pause in the parents of some. Even a couple of attendees themselves refused to learn alongside a criminal, which caused some lower scoring individuals to take the place of top examinees. This was all a couple of weeks old, but what caused some students to do a double take wasn't noticing the two students walk through the gate. No, it was the fact that the two students walked up through the gates together, hand in hand. The boy flustered half to death, and the girl cheery beyond a reasonable doubt. Himiko's face was warm and giddy, slowly losing the eeriness it had maintained for so long. Izuku's face was a brighter red and a stop sign, but also happy, content, even a little bit proud. This show of affection, however, fell on deaf ears of those too bull-headed to even consider the idea of a villain receiving a redemption. The events at the exam were all but forgotten, nobody taking note of what either examinee had been through in their judgments. Midoriya seemed indifferent to their stares, but no matter how well she hid it, Toga still felt exactly as she had when her killer instincts took over. Ostracized, prying eyes peeling back at her resolve like tissue paper. She began to lose herself in anger, but the pseudo-changeling was snapped out of her rising bloodlust by a clenching hand holding hers. Looking over, the blonde bombshell's facade melted away as she saw her freckled fighter give her the most genuine kind smile she could imagine. Taking a deep breath, she squeezed his hand twice, signaling the vampiric mimic was calming down. They walked through the door together, Toga being reminded every second of the unbelievable boy beside her. She'd seen him push himself so hard it made the ex-psychopath's head spin, and his adamant nature forcing himself to stick to the same schedule and exercise routine was mind-boggling. Not to mention his conversation with Nezu just a week before school would get into session.
I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Nezu, sir, and I understand this is very short notice, but it'll be hard to work out. But but I need to insist on this. Toga needs me there to help her, at least for the time being. Midoriya, I do understand your concerns, and it was quite a valid one. Wouldn't you say, though, that your current relationship with her could hinder both your and her performance while attending UA? Forgive me, young Midoriya, but you must prove to me you mean.
His sentence trailed off as the future attendee looked into the principal's eyes with a stare he'd only seen from the likes of All Might before, a look of pure honesty and determination.
Principal Nezu, I'm going to hold both of us to our schoolwork. I want to become a hero and help people, and nothing, not a relationship, not a burglary, not even death in the family, will keep me from that goal. I want to make sure nobody ever has to struggle alone again, and that starts with Himiko Toga. I don't care if I'm her boyfriend or a strange brother, sir. She'll struggle if I can't be there to keep her on track. Please.
The boy's stare kept steady for the extended pause, and after a while, Nezu sighed heavily, rubbing his temple.
Maybe this is me going soft, but all right, Izuku Midoriya. I will arrange you and Himiko to both be in Class 1A. However, if your performance falters due to this, no, I will be forced to swap her class.
As he spoke, the cognizant mammal wrote down a note for himself. The green-haired savior let out a shaky sigh, hanging his head in a proper bow.
Thank you, sir. I won't let you down.
The freckled fighter affirmed, getting up to leave. Himiko Togo ducked behind the hallway walls and lay down on her bed, biting her pillow and fighting back the burning in her eyes. The vampiric mimic's throat began to choke up as she buried her face deeper into the pillow, straining to keep this flood of emotions inside. She didn't want to let anyone see her cry. As they were about to enter the school, Izuku felt a squeeze on his hand. He very subtly nodded to Himiko and loosened his grip, and with a brief glance at the corner of the building, the freckled fighter noticed the threat his pseudo-changeling did. Before Midoriya could falter in his judgment, Toga was on top of the attacker, lunging at the same time he did and landing atop the assailant hard, knees bashing to antagonist's spine. Bakugo yelped in pain and looked at the green-haired crybaby's horrified expression. She let the assailant stand up. "You're lucky you have a damn criminal protecting you, or you'll be dead where you stand, Deku!" The explosive examinee huffled indignantly, glaring at Izuku with the utmost malice. What nobody, not even Himiko, not Katsuki, and certainly not Midoriya himself, expected the response of the aspiring hero.
You're lucky this damn criminal was here to get you first, or you'd be dead where you stand, Kachan.
The last word was cast at the Boom King, venom thick and viscous within the name. Truly taken aback, Bakugo fell silent, and the blonde bombshell gave her partner a concerned look as the shy teen covered her mouth.
Izuku?
She muttered, concerned, grabbing his hand tentatively. The pseudo-changeling made eye contact with him, and the young prodigy took a deep, shaky breath. Before leaving, he gave the violent fighter a determined stare.
After what we've been through, Kachan, I'm not going to tolerate your belittlement. I'm done with your better-than-thou act.
He turned around, Toga unsure if she could do anything to ease the teen's tension. Not even bothering with eye contact, Izuku muttered one long sentence before heading through the doors.
Brush yourself off and get to Class 1B. We're done here.
As the couple walked through the doors, the vampiric mimic vainly attempted to ease the stress of her green-haired crybaby. Bakugo stared in utter shock. Anger wasn't the right word, nor was fear. Perhaps a proper descriptor could be disheartened. Only then did he notice the pinprick in his arm, noting it was slightly paler than before. Aizawa introduced himself to his class, then immediately had them go outside for quirk evaluations. The discussions within the students' group were nervous, but no individual was as nervous as Himiko. Words reverberated in her head on repeat, a broken record that couldn't be rewound. "Alright, we're going to go to the field for some quirk tests. The person with the lowest overall score is going to get expelled. Let's get this over with." With a lazy smirk and nothing more, the teacher gestured for his class to follow him out the door, and a thick film of dread rested itself upon 1A. The blonde bombshell was especially nervous about this event, due to her quirk being of no use to any physical events. Noting her anxiety, Izuku took her hand gently to comfort her, able to breathe a bit better knowing at least one person was in her corner. She slapped her cheeks, steadying herself for the proceedings. Looking for any sign of insecurity in the green-haired hero in training, Himiko noticed a shockingly familiar, determined stare. Did this comfort the pseudo-changeling to a significant degree, short-lived as that feeling was? The judgmental stares of those suspicious of her past and sneers from those familiar with her quirk left the blonde bombshell socially stressed and mildly irritable. However, Toga had a plan. One that would let her make full use of all for once hasty awakening of her quirk. The long jump, the high jump, the sprints, all of the events that transpired didn't require her to use her quirk just yet. Glancing at her vial of blood and sloshing it around subtly, the vampiric mimic had to resist drinking it right away. The time limit would expire far too quickly, so she had to ensure it was used at the right moment. She was fortunately rewarded for her patience when the final event had rolled around. "Alright, this is the ball throw. Simple. Throw it as far as you can. Let's see the two lovebirds tackle this first. Izuku, go." Aizawa patiently watched Midoriya walk up to the plate and ready himself, stretching out his throwing arm. Razorhead seemed indifferent to the proceedings, fully expecting the young student to successfully launch the ball a considerable distance. After a brief pause, the machine Aizawa held leaped to life, cheerfully reported aloud.
893 meters.
The group of spectators murmured among themselves in disbelief. Suddenly serious, Aizawa turned to face Toga. Now your turn. How will you stay in the game here? You're already in the bottom 3 spots. Show me what you can do with that quirk of yours. Nodding in understanding and tossing an empty vial onto the ground, Himiko stretched just like Izuku had, but in her case, she began to change. A grey, clay-like substance crawled over her body rapidly, turning her feminine features masculine. Her clothing became quite different, and her hair became blonde and oddly spiky, eyes flaring to life and sparks flying from her hands in anticipation. The pseudo Katsuki picked up the ball and clutched it tightly, winding back her throw. Ignoring the shock of some and the fear of others, the mild excitement of Aizawa, the vampiric mimic wound up her throw and launched the ball with a devastating explosion. It rocketed through the air before landing a solid distance away, only confirmed by the teacher's device beeping out.
578 meters.
Grinning broadly at the transformation already wearing off, Toga giddily grabbing her clothes from the ground and skipping to the bathroom to get redressed, hurrying before her body was fully clear of the grey goo. Sighing, Aizawa nodded to himself. As much as he'd love to expel another class, he knew that this one had potential. He'd need to ensure they have a good future, and thus would drive them harder than he'd driven any class before, gesturing for everyone to follow him inside. Himiko grinned happily at Izuku, and Taiko hugged him, redressed and happy as ever. Before she knew what was happening, a laughing and grinning Midoriya had scooped her up into his arms, heading back to the classroom. She giggled and held the boy close, sighing and getting up to walk on her own after a little while.
You know, Izuku,
The blonde teen muttered pensively. Curious, the freckled fighter glanced in her direction.
What's up, Himiko? I was just thinking about how I wanted life to be just to be easy, you know? Well, now I kind of get why that was a yucky view to go by. Hard work is kind of gratifying.
Pleasantly surprised, the green-haired student gave her another award-winning smile and a bear hug.
You know, we could add some training time to our schedule. It'll let us get more time together while also improving for school. We can even give one another lessons on combat and trade knowledge of heroes.
As he spoke, Izuku's face lit up like a Christmas tree, making the blonde bombshell's heart flutter. She nodded in acceptance, and they exchanged a fist bump. Himiko could learn to love this. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in the story thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, we've got a second channel called Anime Deep Dive. Anime Deep Dive goes deep into the facts and lore of a wide variety of anime. It's sure to expand your weeb knowledge for all kinds of series, guaranteed. On top of that, we got a third channel called We Celestial Naruto What Ifs. That's what we do on this channel already, but in the vast world and lore of Naruto. Go check it out if you're in the mood for some jutsu action. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, then I would like to extend out an invitation to join the team. The only caveat being, we only accept members 16 years and up to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interest by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. Our Discord is an all-around fantastic place to be, whether you're a fan or looking to join our band of misfits. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video, so thank you all for watching, and have a great day.